My name is Donnie Epting, and I am a recruiter and the HBCU liaison at Hinds Community College. We are the college that has 6 locations, the largest community college in the state of Mississippi. And I help students who are seeking to get to their next step in life, whether that's coming right out of high school or continuing on education as an adult. I am there to help them find that next step and find that point to where they want to go to be successful. And at Hinds Community College, we've got some great programs for students to take, as well as our academic classes that are guaranteed to transfer over to all of the public universities here in the state of Mississippi.
Hey, thanks for that introduction. That actually was a great segue into the first question I wanted to ask. So in terms of helping students find their path and what they want to do, so let's say you have met with a student that has decided they want to attend Hinds, they want to make that their college home for the next year or two. How do they start the application process? What do they need to apply? How do they do it? Can you walk us through that?
I sure can. Our application process is very easy. It starts with going to our website at www.hindscc.edu/apply. From there, you will complete the applicant profile and then complete your application for the given term that you're looking to start in. We have applications up all the way through fall 2022 at this point for students to go ahead and apply. What's needed for the application process is your general information: name, address, social security number, and those different items, email address, of course, phone number. Our application process is free. It's open door. We accept students with whatever GPA they have or ACT scores that they have. That may impact the classes that that student has to sign up for, but our policy is open door when it comes to our general admissions.
Okay, and so you mentioned that it's open all the way up until fall 22 enrollment. For students, let's say we're working with a high school senior this year, or we're working with maybe an adult student that wants to enroll next fall. When does that application typically open? Is it a September 1st date, or is it always open and they just indicate the term?
It is usually open September 1st, and then they indicate that term, if they're looking for that next fall. Yes, that's correct.
So early September is when they need to
start
for the next year, I need to start applying.
Exactly.
Gotcha. And then to complete that application, I know some community colleges want an in-progress transcript. Some want to wait till they get a final transcript in. Some request the ACT scores sent as part of the application. Some say, we'll wait till it's on the transcript. What is the policy with additional documents needed for the applications?
All right. So sure, we accept in-progress transcripts as well as ACT scores for students. We also offer an alternative placement test called the AccuPlacer. For students who just want to have that additional testing or may not have had the chance to take the ACT. With students, once they graduate, we will need their final official transcript from their school. So not only do we take those in-progress transcripts, so we have to have that final transcript in order to complete the admissions process for a student.
Okay, that's good information to know because it can vary slightly college to college. So moving into after students have been admitted, we usually hear when we're meeting with students, how am I going to pay for this? So let's kind of move into the financial aid / scholarship conversation. Is there a certain kind of like combination of ACT or GPA that will guarantee a student gets an academic scholarship at Hinds?
All right, so I'll first speak on our ACT scholarship, and that's a scholarship that we offer for students who have a composite or a super score of at least a 20. The score range of 20 to 23 nets a student a $4,000 package, which is divided over 4 semesters. If a student has a 24 to 28, that's $6,000 over the 4 semesters. And if a student has a 29, then they are able to get $12,000 ACT scholarship package from us. And that's also split over 4 semesters. So you're either looking at a package of $1,000 per semester, $1,500 per semester, or $3,000 per semester, based on the ACT tier that score falls under for that student. As far as our other academic scholarships, we have our Honors Institute for students who have a composite score of a 25 or a 3.5 GPA, in which they may earn scholarship funds through our Honors Institute and take Honors Institute classes. And that's at our Raymond and Rankin locations.
Okay, so students, if they participate in honors, they can get a scholarship through that as well?
Correct. And the beautiful part about these scholarships at Hinds Community College, whether that's academic, that's performance, that's athletics, or whatever the case may be. All of our aid is stackable, so a student can get those scholarships and stack one on top of the other without having to choose the higher of the multiple scholarships that they have earned.
You were anticipating my next question because I was like, okay, are they going to be able to combine that with ACT? Because that's a pretty nice ability to stack those two. That could cover really almost everything that a student needs to.
Yes, and especially for students who, have those multiple scholarships, like our foundation scholarship, and that's our biggest award that we give, or I should say the most awarded scholarships that we have. We give away over 600 of those foundation scholarships per year. And these are donors to the college who just want to see students excel and worry less about the burden of paying for college. But I mean, there are students who get foundation scholarships, ACT scholarships, they're football players, or they play in the band, or they sing in a choir. And all of that aid, along with Pell Grant, along with state aid, with MTAG and help and those things, all of that is stackable. So stackable. Yes, that's correct.
600 foundation scholarships. That is a lot of privately funded awards.
That's a whole lot. And usually we tell students, complete the process. That deadline is February the 15th of every year before the next fall starts. But we advise students, we urge students, please complete that process, because the earlier you get those documents in, and if you complete the process, the higher the chances are you'll be able to get one of those awards.
Okay, so that actually brought me to a next question I wanted to talk to you about. How do they apply for these awards? Is ACT required to have an application in, or is the ACT scholarship automatic with their admissions file?
All right, so with the ACT scholarship, there is not a separate application for it. We actually accept scores from students up until the first day of classes for that fall semester, or let's just say they decide to start the spring semester, that as well. But as long as that student has not gone to another college prior to enrolling at Hinds, then if they have one of those scores that I mentioned earlier, and we have the scores on file, then they're able to secure that scholarship. And again, there's no application, no separate application with that. We just need to have proof of those scores. And so we're able to, put that on that student's account once we get that documentation.
Okay. And then for honors, is it the same way for students that meet those academic criteria, or do they have to submit a separate application for the Honors Institute?
Now, there is a separate application for the Honors Institute, and that can be found on our website at www.hindscc.edu. You just look for Honors Institute, and you'll be able to see all of the criteria as well as the application for joining.
Okay. Do you know if there's a deadline for that?
With the Honors Institute, there is a let's get you that information here just real quickly with that deadline. And I do want to mention that students can receive the scholarships from $150 up to $300 each semester that they are in that program. And with the application, as I mentioned, it is available on our website at hindscc.edu. There's a $15 application fee. I want to make sure that I do point that out as well. Okay. As you look at the application, it tells students who to turn those applications into at our Raymond and Rankin campuses. And the application does not have a deadline specifically on there as far as, I would say, prior to the first day of classes.
Okay. So just prior to the school starting.
Right.
And then I think you alluded to an application being due February 15th. Is that the foundation one?
That's the foundation scholarship. That application is due along with all of the documentation that goes along with that. So I just want to speak to that documentation that's needed. A student needs to complete first their admissions application into Hinds. Second, the application for the foundation scholarship, which is available online at hindscc.edu/scholarships. And then the student will also need to complete 2 letters of recommendation form, or have those completed, 2 letters of recommendation form. So a student can have someone recommend them, such as a teacher, a coach, a pastor, a counselor, anyone that can speak highly of them to let them, let us see how that student has excelled and is worthy of receiving those scholarships. And on the application, I do want to point out that there are 3 important pieces that we do ask for. We ask the student about their educational and career goals, whether they feel like they are deserving of the foundation scholarship, and their statement of educational needs. So once we get that application in, with the 2 letters of recommendation form from their recommenders, as well as a resume. We want to see any of the extracurricular activities, volunteer services, and things like that that a student may have participated in while in school as well. And also we'll ask for their ACT score and transcript, which also goes along with our regular admissions process.
Okay. So not hard things to complete, but definitely
Not at
don't
all.
want to wait until February 14th to start it.
Correct. If you're waiting until Valentine's Day, then you're
You're going to be up all night.
That's right. That's right. We want to make sure that students get that information into us as soon as they possibly can.
Okay, so start early on that.
Correct.
And then you mentioned that any score that they want to submit, whether it's the composite or the super score, y'all will use in the calculation for scholarship awards.
That is correct.
Okay. I know super scores are huge right now, and I'm glad to hear most schools are accepting them because 1 or 2 points can make a huge difference.
That is correct. I've seen students go from one tier to the next, or not even getting an ACT scholarship to now getting an ACT scholarship.
Now getting one. Right.
Yes.
Right. It can make a big difference. So aside from scholarships, whether they're ACT or foundation, and then you mentioned, of course, y'all have the traditional band, athletic performance, those as well that may require auditions. Students, we really encourage them to fill out the FAFSA because financial aid from the FAFSA application, federal government, can also go a long ways to helping pay for school. Does Hinds require all admitted students to have a FAFSA on file as part of their admissions file?
Not as part of their admissions file. Of course, it's great to have for students who, of course, are seeking, means to help pay for school. We do very, very much so urge students to get that FAFSA application submitted as soon as possible. And then also when they hear back from our Office of Financial Aid, to get their documentation in as soon as they can, so that the process is a whole lot smoother, getting ready to start for classes and having a way to pay for those classes and not have to worry about having that bill be outstanding for them. But as far as the FAFSA goes, we do offer assistance with students with any questions that they may have regarding the FAFSA application. They may contact our Office of Financial Aid anytime with those questions about completing the application for federal aid.
Which is helpful as well, because I know a lot of students just don't know where to start. So if anyone's watching this, Get to College helps fill out FAFSA. Hinds is saying they'll help fill out FAFSA. You have people here willing to help. So get that application in. I do know some schools, if they're going to post a scholarship to a student's account, though, they want to see a FAFSA on file. They require that a FAFSA is on file before they'll disperse those funds. Is it required for any student that's getting a scholarship to have a FAFSA on file?
In some cases, there are a number of our scholarships that we do need to have that FAFSA on file. I'll speak particularly to a STEM Up sponsorship that we have at our Utica campus. The Utica campus is a historically Black college, the HBCU location of Hinds Community College. And they have a STEM Up program, which is science, technology, engineering, or mathematics. And so for students who are interested in those fields, working in those fields as well, of course, going to school, then there's sponsorships available for those students, depending on the financial flexibility that grant offers for students. So I know that's one that requires the FAFSA being completed. And of course, a lot of your performance-based scholarships will also require the FAFSA to be completed. And we even have some newer scholarships that are out there, some like our Eagle, Scout, and Gold Award that are new scholarships to us. So we want to make sure that we're offering a variety of scholarships for students, but having that FAFSA completed helps the school to know how much we can award in those scholarships for those that may not have a set amount of scholarships.
Right, and that institutional aid is where it really comes in handy.
Correct.
Because students, just so you know, you can qualify for no Pell Grants or something through the government, but you may qualify for something from Hinds Foundation scholarships or an institutional grant that's been given. So
that's correct.
You can qualify for other things with the FAFSA application.
That's correct.
So, is there a date that you like to see the financial aid application in, or just before the day before school starts, you kind of want to make sure you have everything finalized?
Well, usually for students who are enrolled in the fall semester, the fees are due each term or each fall term on August the 1st. So I usually advise students, let's get all of our ducks in a row by the beginning part of July. That way, if we have to make any adjustments, any changes, we can have those in for the deadline for the fees to be due on August 1st. And it's January 1st for students who are starting in the spring semester.
Okay, that makes sense. So after the financial question, usually, honestly, that comes first from the parents. The next question after deciding where to go that I usually hear from the students, they don't care about how they're going to pay for it. They care about where they're going to live.
Right.
So will you talk to me about the housing application? I know sometimes they open on a certain date and everybody's kind of waiting for that deadline. For that application to open. Is there a deadline? First come, first served basis? All the housing questions that students have. Will you answer those for me?
I sure will. First things first, we have housing available. Our residence halls are located at our Raymond and our Utica locations. So 2 of our 6 locations, we have residence halls. With the application, it's going to open up on March 1st of 2022 for the fall semester of 2022. Students who have completed their admissions application will get their welcome email and give them information on how to log into their my.hinds account to go to the Res Life section of My Hinds and complete their housing application when that opens on March the 1st, 2022. We also offer some videos at hindscc.edu/housing that show students the spaces that we have on each of our locations. That way they can get a preview of the places that they're going to, potentially live once they come to campus. So we have plenty of material available for students to help them get prepared to live on campus with us at Hinds. And again, that website where you can see those videos, hindscc.edu/housing.
Do you also encourage students to do this early with
Correct.
housing? Does it go pretty quickly at Hinds?
Yes, it does. And I was going to say to piggyback on your first come, first serve comment, that is definitely the case. We've had, plenty of fall terms when we run out of housing pretty quickly. So it is imperative for students to complete those applications as soon as they humanly can.
Okay. So after we've kind of filled out a lot of the applications, you mentioned it in your introduction, but you talked about the different pathways students can take. Can you elaborate more on that? So for a student that doesn't know a lot about Hinds, or maybe doesn't even know much about community colleges and what all they offer, can you talk about like academic transfer, maybe career tech, certifications, like different routes a student could take?
Sure. And I'm going to first speak to the academic transfer path that we have. As I mentioned earlier, we have classes that are guaranteed to transfer over to all Mississippi public universities and colleges here in the state. So that's if a student is taking general biology, lecture and lab, and they want to go to Mississippi State for, say, engineering, then, those classes would transfer over. As far as our career and technical education options go, I like to say that the community college usually has a little something for everybody. And that's whether a student wants to major in something or study something like culinary arts, where they want to be a chef, or they want to do carpentry, welding, and work on homes, HVAC. I mean, fall, winter, summer, spring, we're going to need, some sort of heat and air. But we have a lot of different programs, and especially our nursing and allied health programs. We have a lot of programs that are catered to students for whatever field they want to go into. And at the end of that student's studies here at Hinds Community College, if they're doing the academics, we're going to put an Associate of Arts degree in their hand, or an AA, for them to transfer over to their bachelor's or to their four-year college to get their bachelor's. With students who are taking our career and technical education programs, they can have classes and take those courses in as few as 1 year to get a career certificate, to get a technical certificate after a year and a half or 3 semesters. And then some students will attach both their career and technical classes to also take some academic classes to get an Associate of Applied Science degree. And the beautiful part about that, and I'm going to use Culinary Arts for an example, at our campuses, we have a few of the locations that have Culinary Arts, where students can get their Associate of Applied Science degree, or AAS as it's called, transfer up to, say, the Mississippi University for Women, where they have a great culinary arts program there. They don't have to start over. They won't lose any of those credits. They will transfer over, and that student will then get their Bachelor of Applied Science degree. So that's a great incentive for some of those programs to do offer that pathway. But again, like I like to say, we have a little something for everybody here at the community college, and that's the beauty of it. Students sometimes will come to college and say, I don't know what I want to do. And that's okay. This is why we're here, because we want you to come to college and figure it out.
Well, I was talking to a recruiter last week at another school, and they said a lot of times they'll even have a student switch completely. They come in strictly academic
Yeah,
pathway, and then they see
yeah,
this really cool program that's over in career tech. They're like, I can be out in 2 years making really good money, and they'll switch over there, or they'll come convinced they're going to go career tech program, and then they'll end up in academics. So they just get the chance to explore
that's right.
and kind of see what they want to do. So in relation to some of those programs, kind of more career tech route, do y'all have any that are really unique or maybe new that are coming to campus or just open on campus? Culinary arts, I feel like, is a pretty unique one. Not all schools have that.
Right. Aviation. We have our
Oh,
own
okay.
airport at Hinds Community College. We're only community college in the state with its own airport. Another transfer program or pathway I've seen students take, leave from Hinds and go up to Delta State, where they have a pretty good aviation program there. We have cosmetology at our Utica location. And that's, usually a unique program where I've seen a lot of young men and a lot of young ladies come in and excel in that program and then go out and either work in shops with someone that they're close to or go open their own shops. And so we have a few, and I won't even, our nursing and allied health program is second to none.
Yeah.
We have so many different hospitals and clinics and doctors' offices that rave about our students who come through those programs. The hospitals throughout the Southeast are looking for students that come through our nursing and allied health programs because they know they're going to have a quality education with those students coming in.
And that's a one that very traditionally you hear a lot about, getting the start at the community college and then going on and getting your BSN in nursing at another school. And it doesn't even have to be immediately after. You can work for a little bit, go to school
Right.
while you're working, or take a break with school, then go back and get your bachelor's. But I feel like you mentioned culinary arts and aviation, but I feel like nursing is also a great one to start at a community college and then further later into your BSN.
Most definitely. And, as I mentioned, we're the college that offers a little something for everybody, but we're also going to offer those classes at a lower price by coming to the community college. So, we talked about scholarships and we talked about financial aid earlier. Of course, students want to be able to know how they can save as much money as possible. And, that's why we exist.
Yes, for sure. So moving into another area of the conversation about Hinds, you mentioned that there are 6 locations. Mm-hmm. And then that 2 have more of the, I guess, probably traditional feel with the residence halls on campus. What are some campus life activities that students can get involved in? If they come to Hinds outside of the classroom, what are ways they could spend their time or develop as leaders, volunteer, that kind of thing?
Yes, and we believe that, students should be able to come in. And of course, the goal is to get your education. That is always first and foremost. At the same time, we want our students to be able to come in and enjoy themselves while in college. Be able to get out and meet people that have similar interests to themselves. So we have Student Government Association. That's for the students who like to be the voice of the student body. We have student government associations at all 6 of our locations. We have Phi Theta Kappa chapters at all 6 of our locations. And of course, with Phi Theta Kappa, there's a lot of students who come in and they get transfer scholarship dollars to go to their 4-year college after leaving from Hinds. We have things like our choirs and our glee clubs. We have also our yearbook committees, which, they are going around campus, snapping up pictures and interviewing people and participating in all of the good events that take place on campus. We have our Esports Team. Esports, something that, maybe 5-10 years ago wasn't really a thing, but it has now blown up to, what's almost really a full-fledged sport, so to speak. But we have a lot of different things at all of our locations that we want students to come in to be able to just take in and have the time of their lives. We have student groups, ambassadors, and our Hinds Connection that help us go out to recruit the next batch of students into the school. So we kind of like to keep the cycle going as far as each one teach one within our Hinds Connection. But a lot of different activities for students to be able to come in and find their way. And like I said, succeed both inside and outside of the classroom.
Okay, that sounds great. So students are not going to be bored if they come to Hinds.
No.
They're going to have lots to do.
That's right.
So I know that we want students to succeed academically. We want them to get involved on campus through campus life, but sometimes students just need some additional help in making sure both of those things go well outside of high school or as an adult coming back to school. What are some of the resources on campus that are there to help students succeed in and out of the classroom? So kind of like, gyms, mental health, counseling, those kinds of things. Can you talk through some of those opportunities?
Sure will. We do offer math labs and writing centers available for students who are needing additional assistance in those particular areas. We offer student success centers at our locations. And this is to help students in the classroom writing resumes if they want to get information about a four-year college or get more information about a specific industry. Or, I think I want to do this, but I think I actually may want to go into another field. We have a Focus 2 assessment software that allows students to identify what area that they may want to work in when it comes to a certain industry. We also have our Tech Nest available on our campus to help keep our students, our faculty, our staff, our administration up to speed on everything going on in the world of technology. Because as we know, with technology, things seem like they change every third minute. But we have a wealth of resources available to our students. Our deans of students offices are always there to support our students to make sure that students are getting their needs met. But we want to be sure that we foster an environment for students to be able to come to us when they need assistance, and they don't have to worry about, being a needle in a haystack and just we want our students to come in and know that there is a successful path for them, and those things that they need additional help with, we're going to provide that for them.
That's good to know.
And I did want to speak on our mental health resources we have as well. We do have counselors that are available to students, and it's okay to say you're not okay. We want to be sure that we're getting our students that necessary assistance that they need prior to anything that can or may go wrong with them. So we want our students to be able to know that we understand things happen, and that we have professionals that are outlets for them to be able to speak with in their time of need. Which
is reassuring to know, because sometimes just transitioning to college can be a lot. It can trigger a lot of new responsibility, kind of taking care of your own schedule for the first time. And so it can just be a lot. So to have that support around you on the campus is helpful. Donnie, we appreciate you being here. Is there anything else as we're wrapping up that we haven't talked about that you think a student or maybe a teacher, or, a counselor that's using this in a classroom or in a meeting setting with the student and family, anything that they should know that you want them to know about Hinds that we haven't already talked about?
Yeah. And I'll just, allude to what I mentioned earlier as far as the different programs that we have, as well as our academic classes that are guaranteed to transfer over. We have something that can fit anyone. We just ask that, the students give us a chance to show them what they can reach as far as their potential goals inside and outside of the classroom. Because, college is a temporary stop along the way to something greater. But we want to be sure that we are putting the students that come through our doors in the best position possible to be able to succeed. We have great students at all of our campuses, and our classroom sizes are smaller. Therefore, students don't feel like they're in this intimidating environment where they can get that one-on-one interaction with their instructor. But any of the resources that are needed, both inside and outside of the classroom, Hinds Community College is here to provide those resources to our students, their parents, and any other information that we can get to any of the counselors and teachers and principals and whoever else may need that information. Please feel free to contact us. We love to answer all your questions and help point your students in the right direction.